Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Slangin The Bizkit. I want to start off with a little bit of sad news. I don't like doing this, but a guy that I played with against this season, young guy. Johnny,
played against with or played against?
Played against. So he's playing for Toledo this season.
Yeah.
When I was in Motor City, Summit City in Fort Wayne. Johnny Bonta passed away last week. Sudden death, only 29 years old. The guy loved hockey. I just wanted to just start the show up by saying rest in peace. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably terrorizing goalies up there in heaven, but to the whole Bonta family.
29. Do we have a cause of death?
They were saying that he died in his sleep surrounded by friends and family. So I don't know what happened, but man, that's it's so weird. Like literally like a month ago, him and I were chatting up in warm-ups. Merry Christmas. Hope you have a good one. Good to see you. Looking forward to competing with you next time. And that was the last time I would talk or see him.
Well, you never know what's going on behind the veil, that's for sure. And I know we're a little late to the party on this one, and I don't want to sour what you're saying because I think that every life is precious regardless of what it looks like or how it feels or how it sounds. But I'm still not on board with this whole Bell Let's Talk thing. I think kind of similar to what we talked about on last week's show. I think it's opportunistic, and I think it's an opportunity to go, look, everyone, look how good we are. Look how, we are so benevolent. Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know if that's the cause of death, but if you do want to get into that, and again, rest in peace to Johnny, man. I hope you see this up there in heaven, and hope you're having a good time terrorizing goalies, but Bell Let's Talk is one of the biggest scams out there. This initiative, which like all good things, it starts with good intention, and then you get the corporations and a lot of money behind it. And Bell Let's Talk Day, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? Let's raise all this money. We care about mental health. We care about men's mental health.
Oh, wait, Dan O'Toole's got problems. Fire him! Yeah.
Shit can, half the staff because our CEO needs his budget or his bonus for the year.
To me, it's the whole Bell Let's Talk thing. And I want to make sure that I get this very clear. If you're having negative thoughts, if you're having dark thoughts, if you are having any thoughts of taking your own life, you need to speak to someone. And there are a lot of amazing professionals that are equipped to deal with that. Or sometimes it's a close personal friend or a family member. And I think you should go and talk and be honest about those things because sometimes it's better out than it is in, like Shrek says about farts. But to me, when it comes to the whole Bell Let's Talk thing, it's very similar to when you're in a department store and it says, hey, before you check out for your bill, would you like to donate $2 to this charity fund? And it's like, well, no, because I'm basically paying your taxes for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No, I'll make sure I donate to charity how I see fit. But even though I know that money's probably going towards the cause you're talking about, it's doing nothing but helping you out on your taxes. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm not a big fan of that, and I kind of feel like that's the veil that Bell is kind of throwing over this whole thing. Like, we care. They don't.
Oh, they just want to take
And you know
money.
what? In the grand scheme of things, I've already accepted the fact that Bell will never hire me in a announcer job. I get that, especially because I've been so hard on this initiative. There are better ways to go about that.
Well, do they not talk about men's mental health specifically? We want to help men's mental health. They have a thing that said over 3/4 of all mental health issues are from men. Is that that's not what they campaign on?
I don't know, but Alexander Graham Bell, I'm sure, is rolling over in his grave right now. I mean, he's the one that's responsible for all of our telecommunications. He was the pioneer of the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure he's rolling over in his grave, seeing how this is how they're using it to communicate. Anyways.
Tide is shifting slowly but surely. Praise the Lord.
All right, let's move on to brighter and bigger things. Yes.
So anyway, rest in peace to Johnny Bonta. Mm-hmm. But
we're thinking of you.
We got the sad things out of the way. We got an exciting show. A lot of really good stuff. I saw a story the other day. It brought a smile to my face. Patrick Waugh, icon, right? Marty Brodeur tells a great story that and Patrick's always done very well for himself, to put it nicely, right? He's had quite a lot of new players in the game, shall we say. And so Marty Brodeur tells a story. He sees Patrick Waugh a couple summers ago. Hey, Patrick, good to see you. Oh, Marty, have I introduced you to my new girlfriend? Oh, no, sure, let's meet her.
Does she have a twin sister? Sorry.
Asking for a friend. Walks over. Whatever your name is, this is Martin Brodeur. He's the second greatest goaltender of all time.
Great intro.
Tell me that's not one of the greatest intros of all time.
Great intro.
The swagger, Patrick Waugh. This is why he's the greatest of all time. Some people say Marty. Some people say the Dominator. The swag, the passion, the the set of balls on Patrick Waugh is what makes him so iconic and just such a legend, I think.
It's funny you say that because I've had this thought recently, especially after guys like Cristiano Ronaldo and Tom Brady, who are both considered GOATs of their respective sports. Mm-hmm. Both of them play football. Yeah? Mm-hmm. They've both launched YouTube channels, and they are doing numbers that we will never do, ever. You and I will never do numbers like that, ever. And that's okay. But as far as their stature for what they've done in the game, they're somewhat underwhelming. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
As far as viewership goes, or the videos?
No, the videos are incredibly well produced, incredibly well produced. Mm-hmm. But I think the thirst for that kind of content from the people that prop them up during their careers, and Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing, I think it kind of, I don't want to say overshadows, I don't want to say sullies, it just kind of, it makes it awkward. A little bit.
Why is that?
Well, Tom Brady, the GOAT. Guy's got more rings than the legend of the whatever. Pick whatever. I had 20 different jokes that I could have thrown in there, and I couldn't give you a decent one. Okay. But he's the GOAT. There's no doubt he's the greatest. He's the most winning quarterback of all time. He's the most winning football player of all time. But people don't necessarily want to see what he does outside of that. You know, there's a good portion of people, but there are people sitting in their basement that are getting way more views. Mm-hmm. And I wonder sometimes, does that maybe I don't think it takes away from what he did on the football field.
Well, it takes away some mystery.
Right. Yeah, kind of.
Like you think of celebrities like Kurt Cobain. I know he's one that comes to mind because I really enjoyed his music. But I think one of the reasons why people like him so much is, A, because he killed himself early, so you didn't get the peak of Kurt Cobain.
Did he?
Conspiracy theory. Let us know in the comment section below. Yeah. But you didn't get the peak of Kurt Cobain. But also, he was very mysterious because you never saw a lot of him. You saw a couple of interviews here and there. There's probably, 5, maybe 7 good interviews with him. The rest we don't know, so we're curious to learn more.
Well, it begs the old question, is it better to burn out or to fade away, as Neil Young said?
That's very true.
Right.
But with Tom, when you give everybody everything, it's like, well, there's nothing really else to see.
Right.
And I think, too, because YouTube is a place where overproduction, I don't think, does well. Like, people love the unfiltered, the lack of production, the fact that, like when I'm making my YouTube videos, I film them, I edit them, I star in them. It's all produced by myself, and there's no, team. But when you have these massive film teams that are producing this stuff for Tom Brady, it lacks that personal touch that YouTube is known for, right? Mm. And I think that's why it doesn't hit at home.
I Am Georgina, who is Cristiano Ronaldo's partner, she does massive, she does more numbers than he does. Mm. And it kind of lends to that conversation we had last week about Cashmere.
I love how you keep calling him Cashmere, like the sweater.
Right.
Casimir,
thank you. It kind of lends to that, where I think a lot of, not all, but a lot of professional hockey spouses will try and use that as a platform. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it goes extremely well. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it does not go nearly as well. And here's a situation where you got two guys whose careers went extremely well, one still doing very well, mm-hmm. but I don't want to see you in that realm. I love seeing you in that one, but this one, it's okay.
You have very few like Pat McAfee who can make that transition and do so well.
Well, look, nobody knew who Pat McAfee was until he started doing the show. It's like, oh, you were a kicker?
Well,
cool.
Do you think that's part of the magic, though? Because even though he was an NFL kicker, we have no idea who he was. He was just some guy that played in the NFL. Oh, but he's a great podcaster. Now he also played in the NFL.
Well, that's kind of the allure of you, is that it gives you that extra credibility. Were you an NHL star? No. No. But you know what? You went out and you did the grind of semi-pro hockey, and that gives you some credibility to be
minor pro hockey.
Minor pro hockey, but it gives you some credibility on speaking on the said topic. So you will make a bigger name for yourself behind this microphone than you ever did in the cage.
Of course.
Right? But you're able to have conversations about that because of what you did. When it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo and Tom Brady, and I'm just using those as examples, they should have...
sorry to interrupt you. I think you're missing one part, though. When you watch my videos, or maybe Casimir, I don't think he responds to many messages, but you have the ability, or at least the perception, that you can be in touch with him. Like, you can watch the video on your phone. Casimir is here. I get to bridge that from my eyes to the phone through the Instagram message and feel like I know him. It's that personal touch of, well, you're my personal friend, And if you're my personal friend, I care about you, I become more invested. I'm not invested in Tom Brady because A, I don't know him, B, I'm never going to meet him. And does he care about me? Probably not. He doesn't even know who I am.
Well, like, it's very rare that you have, I mean, in acting, they call it the EGOT. You get the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, the Tony, where you're able to cross many boundaries under that umbrella and be successful in all of them. And it's very rare. And a guy like John Madden, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and also one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. It's rare, right? John Gruden had that opportunity. Unfortunately, got shot by an errant bullet and shot by himself into his own foot, where he was also a great announcer. Tony Romo, average quarterback, maybe above average, fantastic announcer. Will he be as good without Jim Nantz? I don't know. There's a lot of great examples of that. A lot of guys who are doing color commentary, and it's like a revolving door. They're just trying to find the right guy to fit in there, and more often than not, it's not the big name that played. Sometimes it's that third or fourth line, like Biz.
Yeah, I was
Biz
just
is
say.
a great example. He is a wonderful broadcaster. Like, he's really good.
That's why you'd rather listen to him than Wayne Gretzky on a broadcast.
And I'm not even talking about the podcast. I'm just talking about that panel that they have. Mm-hmm. It's really solid.
On TNT compared to the CBC, which, as we described.
Look, BX is good. Give him credit.
He's probably the only bright spot in the entire CBC panel of, you have Jennifer, I played Bantam Hockey Botterill. You have
easy now.
You have Ron.
She is also a gold medal winner
she's
in the Olympics. She's an Olympic gold medal winner. Give her credit.
Of course, women's hockey.
She's an Olympic gold medal winner. Give her some credit.
Are men and women the same?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, so then why are we comparing men's and women's Olympics then?
Go out and win a gold medal in anything.
We've already talked about. I could dummy
anything.
women. I could dummy women's hockey.
No. Men and women are different. Go win it in men's.
I won't, because it's difficult.
It is very hard.
Women's is different though.
Not against other women.
Men
it's
and
still
women
really hard.
But men and women are not the same.
So right. But when women are competing against women, still really hard.
Of course. Would you compare apples to asparagus though? One's a vegetable, one's a fruit, one grows in the ground, one's on a tree, one's green, one's red.
If you look down at a gold medal, does it say men's or women's on there? No, it just says gold medal. Give her some credit.
They got a DEI policy of the Olympic Committee.
Give her some credit. She is a good broadcaster as well.
Oh, I can't stand the broadcasting portion of things.
Ron McLean, also good. Elliot Friedman,
He's a weasel.
also
He
good.
threw Don Cherry under the bus.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't make him a bad broadcaster. He's still a great interviewer, and then that guy can transition better than anyone I know.
He can, but I don't respect him because he threw Don Cherry under the bus.
It's unfortunate that will be a black spot on his record, but his overall body of work is incredible.
Well, where's the integrity? Listen, this guy made you. You and Don Cherry did the show for 30 plus years.
Ron made himself. Keep in mind, that guy was a referee in the Western Hockey League through the Red Deer area for a long time.
Sure, but where on TV was he without the Don Cherry Coach's Corner segment?
It certainly helped, but I think he has risen above that and proved that he is a broadcaster that can do many different things inside of that arena.
I think he's risen because CBC has said jump. He says how high.
Listen, can we transition really quickly and talk about Scott Oak, who is
he's another bright spot in the CBC broadcast.
I agree. He has been doing it for a very long time. I happen to know his son very well, Darcy Oak, who is a world-renowned illusionist, and Scott, who is an absolute darling. He's been nothing but wonderful to me throughout my career. Has just released a new book. I had it here. I wanted to make sure I got it right. It's got a long title. That's why I'm pulling up my phone to make sure I get the title of the book right.
Would he come on the show?
I would be happy to reach out and get him on the show. If somebody is watching this that knows Scott, I will reach out. I will reach out. For the Love of a Son, a memoir of addiction, loss, and hope. And this is about his son who he lost to addiction. And he has opened up the Bruce Oak Foundation here in Winnipeg, which is a recovery center, and has done amazing work behind the scenes. And I'm not only am I going to read that book, I would love to have him on the show.
Yeah, amen.
Not only for the book, but just, man, that guy has he has forgotten more about hockey than you and I will ever know.
I remember when he was doing the first Winnipeg whiteout, I guess it would have been 2015 when the Jets came back. Was it 15? Yeah. 2015, 2016. And he's in the whiteout party outside, and he's broadcasting it. They got the, I guess, like the gimbal camera that's moving around the street, and he's getting bumped around, beers thrown on him, and he's just dialed in, maintaining eye contact with the camera, delivers the pitch, whatever it was, 2-minute monologue about the city of Winnipeg and the Jets' history, despite the adversity. Like, that is incredibly difficult to do. I mean, we have people in the studio next over to us that are banging on the glass, and it's hard to stay focused. But in downtown Winnipeg, the whiteout, that's an incredible broadcaster.
Yeah,
right
man. He's a pro through and through, always has been.
You know what? I miss
I used to love the after hours one that I used to do.
with all the interviews. He still does them, though.
Yep.
He still does them. He did one with Celebrini.
I'm not up that late.
Well, yeah, you got to be up early for your morning show because you've had the top morning show in the city of Winnipeg for 20 plus years. But Scott, he did a really good one with Corey Schneider all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some great stuff. Winnipeg legend. Although I do miss the days when Don Cherry would threaten to beat up Ron McLean in coach's corner, like, shut up, you dummy. I miss those days.
Well, look, Don Cherry was great. He was absolutely fantastic. He was an icon. He paved the way for a lot of opinion-based sports media. And I'm not saying not just in hockey, in sports in general. Everyone was looking for that Don Cherry. And don't forget, our boy Shorzy actually played the role of Don Cherry in the CBC movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't watch CBC, so.
It's a good one. You should check it out. It's I can't remember, but it's the Don Cherry story or something to that effect. Anywho, Don was great before the internet came out. And that's the best way I can sum it up, because once the internet came out, it gave everyone an opinion. Because before that, it was only Don's opinion. Mm-hmm. That was the only one that was allowed to be controversial.
When you said back in the day, people stopped what they were doing, whatever it was, Saturday night, 7 p.m., and they watched Coach's Corner the first intermission. Didn't matter if your kid was playing hockey, you went to the lobby to watch. Everybody at the restaurant stopped what they were doing. Everybody watched Don Cherry. And the internet does change that, where anybody can have a voice. That's why we have our show.
Because he was a breath of fresh air. And now, I mean, you can get that kind of controversy every time you flip through to a new video on your social media.
Do you think that he was passionate and he was so nationalistic and so patriotic to Canada?
No, I think he's so opinionated. That's what it came down to. He was unfiltered, he was unabashed, and he just shot from the hip every single time. And Ron was a really good leash for him.
Agreed.
And they had a really good balance. And it's unfortunate that the temperature of society decided to get rid of him, because, again, another guy who got sewered for his one, and I don't even call it a mistake. It was an opinion. It's what they hired him for. But his overall body of work was borderline genius.
Well, with Don Cherry, he did that every year. He made that same Remembrance Day pitch, wear a poppy, people. He did. I remember every year. And for whatever reason, 2019 was just, all right, the culture's changing, the room is changing, temperature, and we got to get rid of him. And like you mentioned, though, one of the greatest, one of the highlights I always look forward to is, hey, Don, we only got about 30 seconds. They never give me enough time for this show.
Yeah.
You never give me enough time. I always enjoyed that, too. But I found, even as a young kid growing up, 8, 10, 13, whatever it was, he inspired a sense of pride and nationalism in myself, where we're Canada. We're the best. Yeah, we don't like the Frenchies in Quebec, and yeah, we hate the Swedes because they're soft, and the Russians don't play the game the right way. He's a good Canadian boy, Western Canadian boy. It installed a sense of pride. Eastern Canadian boy, whatever.
Yeah.
It installed a sense of pride in all of us that I think is missing today. And I don't feel like Canada has an identity anymore. Like the days of proud, patriotic identity, embracing our history, it's gone. It's been, in my opinion.
We've always been a melting pot. It just looks different now, that's all.
Oh, no, it's totally changed, dude.
It's changing. It's always been changing. It's always been a constant gear that has been turning with different cogs every single time, and it is a beautiful tapestry that continues to figure itself out, and just when it does, it changes again.
Well, the patriotism used to be, we're friendly. We love maple syrup. Right?
Still is.
Cold winters, warm hearts.
Still is.
Well, now it's just sidewalks painted in pride flags. That's the personality of the country.
Friendly. Still is.
I think the U.S. is friendlier than Canada nowadays.
Nope.
I think people have gotten so tired of what's been going on in Canada, they have become unfriendly or left, and all the not so friendly people are remaining.
You know what? You know what would help?
What?
Better pair of underwear.
Ooh. And when you hate your neighbor, it'll make it a little bit better when you get a great pair of underwear from the team at Sheath, the presenting sponsor for this show. There's nothing worse than having your dick in your ball sticking to the side of your leg. You got to peel it off, bat winging, a piece of gum under the desk, a piece of gum under the bench at your local hockey rink. You don't need that. Put everything where it needs to go, so it's aerated, compartmentalized, it's cool, it's not musky, it's not stinky, it's not sweaty, stays fresher for longer, and you stay comfortable and cool with their bamboo mesh. They're new and improved, it's aerated again. This is the best underwear you're ever going to get. And if you're still on the fence, you're like, you know what, I like buying my $5 underwear from Costco. Yeah, it only lasts a week, but whatever. Let's make it even easier for you. We're going to get you 20% off, the greatest investment you'll ever make at sheathunderwear.com. Use the code BIZKIT69, that's BIZKIT69. You go to the link in the video description, click on that link, and what are you waiting for?
My wife loves her underwear too, by the way. They make it for girls, the bralettes. Yeah, Fantastic. She loves them.
If you got a missus, she will steal your underwear. Every woman I've dated the last 4 years has at some point stolen my Sheath underwear, which my inventory is a little bit down.
Can you blame them?
Well, I don't blame them.
It's good stuff.
It's great underwear.
Yep.
But I want it back. It's my underwear, not yours. We're playing divorced men. Marriage is in the shitter. Wife's taking half.
Get yourself
That's
some
my
underwear.
money.
Get yourself some underwear.
Only from the team at Sheath Underwear. There was an interview the other day that I saw with Bruins legend Andrew Ference. I think
Bruins legend, Flames legend,
Oilers legend,
Penguins legend. Yeah, he and I actually shared the ice a little bit back in the mid '90s. He and I were both in the Northern Alberta All-Stars program. He ended up going to the Super Series in Vancouver. I went to the one in Brandon, but we were on the ice for a while. And man, I'll tell you, the guy's a smart hockey player, even back then. But can I tell you something about Andrew Ference?
Yeah.
He was the guy that was walking in with the Dead Kennedys t-shirt, the oversized baggy skater pants, the chain wallet shaved head. The guy looked hard as nails. Hard as nails. Like, as soon as he walked into the locker room, there was like, oh shit, there's Andrew. And Brad Ference was on that team too. Yeah.
Do you remember this is going to be one of the most iconic goals of the last decade. Game 5 in Montreal, slap shot, right between the circles, goes to the crowd, gives them the bird, $5,000 fine. You remember that?
Worth it.
Worth every penny to give the old French fans the French salute. I like that.
I think he's living in Canmore, Alberta now. He married a professional snowboarder, and I think that's where they make their home now.
He told a really great story the other day. I really enjoyed this one. He was telling a story about how when he's playing in the Western Hockey League, he wasn't one of the top 100 prospects rated, so he didn't get a chance to go to the scouting combine. So he said, you know what? When life gives you lemons, you make hollandaise sauce. So he goes to the University of Alberta, pays somebody $100. Can you please take my scores for the workouts, for the bench press, for the weightlifting, whatnot, the run, push-ups, etc. Gets the numbers, finds every NHL team's fax number, and he's faxing everything out. He's faxing to the GMs. Hey, Andrew Ference here, Western Hockey League player. Here's my numbers. Craig, what is his name? Craig Patrick from the Pittsburgh Penguins receives the fax, says, why don't you come down to camp? Well, boom. Gets signed, and the following year, he's on the starting lineup opening night for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, again, going back to the whole Tom Brady thing, he did the same thing trying to find himself a college team. Sometimes you got to do the work yourself. A lot of guys are waiting for it to fall on their lap. Sometimes you got to bring it to your lap.
Channeling is in inner Chaz Michaels. I've won a lot of radio contests because I refuse to get off the line.
Yeah.
And just keep smiling and dialing.
Right. And it's so true. Sometimes you got to go get it. Shoot for the moon, you'll land on the stars.
I think he's a part of the new social justice causes for the NHL. And as great as the stories that Andrew did tell, that I really actually did enjoy, I wish that they would just get rid of all that, because the NHL fans, when the fans are coming to the rink, you pay $100 a ticket, you bring the family of 4, there's $400, you're spending $30 a hot dog at the Jets game for the jumbo jet dog, boom, $120 for the whole family, you pay for parking, beer, kids need a stick and a hat, you spend $800. The last thing I want to do when I come to Canada Life Place Canada Life Center or the Maple Leafs Arena, Scotiabank Center, I don't want to be lectured on what's right, what's wrong. I don't want to hear about LGBTQ stuff. I don't want to hear about social justice causes and all this virtuous stuff and climate change. I just want to sit down. I probably want to enjoy a nice cold drink, maybe some nice treats with my family and watch sports and just decompress from the world around me.
Well, you know what? It's a really easy way to get around that. You just say, no, thank you. It's no different than we talked about earlier. When you come to the checkout line and they go, would you like to donate an extra $2? No, thank you. And if you go home and you feel guilt about not donating that $2 or donating that whatever it is, if you feel guilty about it, maybe you should take a closer look at it. But if you're not comfortable with it, say, no, thank you. And then you move on with your day. If it sits inside of your psyche and bothers you, then they're doing their job because they want to be front of mind.
But look at the UFC and Dana White. And I get it. Dana White is a big Trump guy. He's a conservative guy. But he doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what you believe in. Can you fight? Cool. Do you want to watch fights? Great. Come to the gate. Come to the game. Come to the fights. We don't care what walk of life you come from. We just want to have you in the door to watch our sport. And preaching all the social justice stuff that people just don't want to hear about is ruining the game. Look at the Bud Light, for an example. And I know this is going to be taught in marketing classes for the next century. They said our typical demographic is frat boys that are white in university and can't afford to drink beer, so they drink piss water that we sell, right? Let's alienate them and try to get this new demographic that maybe represents 5% of the market. And while trying to obtain 5% of the market that didn't care, they alienated their fan base that actually enjoyed drinking their beer, which isn't really beer, by the way, and then they lost $25 million overnight in market share Never been done before. So know your audience, know who's coming to the hockey games. Don't alienate them in an attempt to find a new audience when you're alienating the current audience, and let these people just enjoy the game. I don't see what's wrong with this.
Well,
if I want to hear about social justice, I'll turn on the mainstream news. I'm not.
It's all about making sure that you are trying to take care of your core audience, bringing in extras to fill those gaps, and hopefully bringing them in full time to make your base audience even bigger. When you start deviating from what that core audience wants, you start frustrating them a little bit. So I understand where you're coming from a marketing standpoint, but it's the old adage of if every team is doing it, you had 31 teams in the league are doing it and you're not, then it's like, hey, we're all trying to do this together. It's kind of a, death by 1,000 cuts. Let's all do this together to try and make sure that we're moving in the right direction. And it may not be the right direction for what you think or what they think or what he thinks or what she thinks, but it's something that they all believe in together so you can understand where their cause is going. I'm not making a lot of sense right now. I can't figure it out. I'm just trying to keep the peace between everybody. I get where you're coming from. I just kind of go, no, thank you. That's no thanks.
But would the peace not be?
I take it from Keanu Reeves too. If you think 2 + 2 is 8, good for you. Have a great day. No, truthfully, that's what it comes down to. Hey, if you believe that, I wish you all the best of luck. Doesn't mean that I want to engage with you anymore. Hey, that's awesome. Good luck with that. Have a great day. Smile on my face. I'll go over here. And that's what it comes down to. I don't want to sit here and engage because then you're getting what you want, right? Hey, it is 8. Have a great day. Bye.
Justin, you're the worst prime minister ever. Have a great day.
Bye. And look, if it's something that I'm really passionate about, I'll be more than willing to sit down and have a intelligent conversation about it. That's why one thing I love about Jordan Peterson, I think he's fantastic about willing to engage in that and have a intelligent conversation rather than, oh, well, you're an idiot and you'll never understand. I never want to get into another one of those in my entire life.
If you name call, you lose the argument. If you swear, you lose the argument.
Right.
Thou that remains the calmest usually wins the argument.
My wife and I have a very strict rule, and it came in as soon as we started dating. We're going to get into fights, and we realize that. We're going to get into fights. It's impossible to get along for our entire lifetime if we're going to be together for the rest of our lives. So number one rule, no name calling, because you can't take that back. You can't take it back. No name calling. And we never have.
Peed in the toilet seat. Who said that?
Well, that's not name calling. If I called her a toilet seat, that would be different.
This man gets more ass than a toilet seat. I'm telling you, in his peak days, oh, man. Shoot or shoot. You want to talk some goaltending? We got lots of goaltending stuff on the docket today. Dustin Wolf.
Oh.
This guy has stolen the job in Calgary. They had Markstrom as a starter, but put Wolf in the American League. He's not ready yet. They had Dan Vladar, 6'5", fresh hips. I love Dan Vladar. You know I love my big guys. Wolf has defied the odds, silenced every critic. 920 save percentage. Short guy, only 5'10", 5'11". Man, watching him play, it's one of those things. Obviously, we don't appreciate how fast the NHL game is unless you're sitting in it. Now, I never played in the NHL, but I know from where I played in minor pro, game was fast. You go up 4 more levels, 3 more levels, whatever, it's even faster. And these guys are so good, they don't make mistakes. But in a world where they don't make mistakes, Dustin Wolf also doesn't make any mistakes, and he's better at everything than anybody else. He moves better. He's more explosive. He's more flexible. His hockey IQ, his goaltending IQ is off the charts, and it's so refreshing to see somebody dominate like this, because we haven't seen a lot of it in the last couple of years, and especially as a rookie, man, I'm hoping for it. I'm enjoying watching him play.
Well, not quite a rookie. I saw him play last year when he was kind of up and down, but yeah, as far as his amount of games that he needed to get to be a veteran, I understand.
25 games or under is rookie status.
Right.
In a season.
I think he was showing the goods last year. I got a chance to see him play at Canada Life Center against the Jets, and he was unbelievable. And it begs the question again, does bigger mean better? Not necessarily. It really doesn't, and I've said that before. I know they're going with that adage, and more often than not, you're going to be right, but every once in a while, you get a guy like this. Will he have the talent to last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? Time will tell.
Well, his body's not going to break down as fast because the body isn't as long. There's not as much torque going through the center of the joint. Think of the Titanic, right? You have all the heavy engines in the back, all the water filling at the top. As it goes down the middle, there's a center point, the balancing point, where we're talking a 50,000-ton back end. It breaks at some point. Same thing with the big guys. Dustin Wolf isn't that.
That's just stats. And I mean, you can, and I truly mean this, you can relate that to humans and dogs as well. Small dogs, you can get 20 years out of a small dog. Big dog, you're lucky if you get 10. Same thing with humans. You see NBA players like Hakeem Olajuwon just turned 61 a couple weeks ago, and he's already defying the odds. I mean, you will not see Shaquille O'Neal as an 85-year-old. Unfortunately, you just won't. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. They will have a little more armor to last longer.
I think you're seeing the one exception to the rule, but I think you're going to see the trend moving forward. You're going to see teams still going with the big guys. They're going to go with the 6'4", the 6'5". If you look at every NHL team's stock cupboard of prospects, every team has one guy that's maybe 5'11", 2'6'1" in that ballpark.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yep.
You never know. They're usually an unsigned guy that had a hot season, signed as a free agent, maybe a late pick in the draft, but they all have 1 to 2 guys that are 6'5" to 6'9", and the rest are 6'3", 6'4".
I still think that the game of hockey should not go full Major League Baseball, but treat their goaltenders more like starting pitchers. I don't think goaltenders, the way you just talked about, are not built to be playing 60-plus games anymore. So why not give a limit to say your starting goaltender can only play 30 games, and then your backups can only play 15 each, and have a roster of like maybe 5-6 goaltenders that you carry around.
I could see that happening in a couple of years, but I think that they need to go through the realization that since the 05 lockout, twice has a team won the Stanley Cup when the starting goalie has played 60 games or more. Every single time, it's been a team with a goalie starting less than 60, so 59 games or less, that has won the Cup. The only exception is 09, Marc-Andre Fleury, and 2012, Jonathan Quick. Think about that. Every guy that hoisted the mug in that game-winning game played less than that amount of games.
And how tall is Marc-Andre Fleury?
6'2". Quick 6'1".
Smaller than your average, but still a big goaltender. And I know you're not a big fan of the Flower. I love him. I think he's great, and he just called it quits. This will be his last year with it, which I think is pretty cool.
Let's look at the last Stanley Cup champions. Bob, 6'2". Who was Vegas? Aiden Hill, 6'5". Tampa Bay, Vasilevsky, 6'4", 6'4". Before that, it was 2020. Who won? Or that was Tampa. Blues, Bennington, Holtby, 6'3", Bennington, 6'2", Murray, 6'5", back-to-back years. Crawford, 6'3". Quick, 2014, he was 6'1". Crawford again, Quick, Crawford. Timmy Thomas, 5'11". And then before that, you would have had Niemi, 6'3", Fleury, 6'2". 2008 was Osgood, who's 5'11". 2007, J.S. Jaguar, 6'2". And then 06, Cam Ward, 6'2". Wow, I rattled that off quite
Anyone
nicely.
else impressed?
Unedited, uncut. Thank you.
I'm impressed by that. That's well done.
I think you're going to see the tall guys continue, but teams are going to stock the cupboard more. So that as they go down, as you're seeing in Toronto, you have 5 goalies who are 6'5 plus. You got Hildebeest, 6'7", Stoller, 6'6". Get injured, we got another guy. We got a carbon copy just waiting for you in the wing. We got 4 of them. I think you'll see that trend, which it sucks because you like to see the guy play as many games as possible. I mean, Ademko is a guy that I know we've been talking about him a lot, but I love watching him play. I wish we could have seen him at Canada Life Center, but guys just break down, right?
Yep. And again, I don't think it comes down to size. More often than not, you're going to play the odds. I get it. But I think a lot of shorter goaltenders are being overlooked.
But you take a big guy, you get him in the right place, right time, on a percentage basis, you're going to get hit more at pucks.
Right.
To supersede that, you have to be overwhelmingly better at everything.
Yep.
And if you're putting food on the table for your family, you're not going to take a risk on a guy that's smaller because you can get your ass fired. Well, I made the safe bet. I went with the 6'5 guy. Not my fault. I did the best that I could.
Right.
But you get a bunch of 5'10 guys and they suck. Someone's getting shit canned. You don't have food on the table to pay for your kids.
Right.
So,
what else you got?
Jakub Dobich. That guy, I think, has stolen the job in Montreal. 5-0 at the time of recording. Obviously, it's going to go up by the time this episode goes up. 940 save percentage as a rookie. Great style. Big check goalie. Playing nasty. I think he might have stolen the job from Montembeault.
Can I make a comment kind of associated with the Montreal Canadiens, but not directly what you're talking about?
Of course.
I love the fact that Martin St. Louis is there. I really do. I think he was a great fit, and I hope they stick it out with him. I said that on the episode a few months ago, but I really hope they stick it out. And Line A's really starting to show that he's in the right spot. Suzuki's really showing that he's a hell of a captain. You know what I mean? Like, they've got a lot of things going for them. They're rebuilding. They're not going to have success this year or next year, maybe the year after, but you're going to see them be contenders in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And I love the fact that Martin St. Louis is there. I really, really do. I do feel that he got the job because he's Marty St. Louis and he speaks French. It's a perfect fit for Montreal. Totally understand. Comprends. Je comprends. Okay?
Qu'est-ce que?
I feel sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the NHL, we're starting to see a lot of names that are familiar. Like a lot of familiar names, not only in players, but in coaches.
Torts.
We're seeing a lot of, I hate using the word retread or rehash, but there are so many really good coaches in Major Junior, Junior Tier 2, NCAA. Even there's some midget AAA coaches that I think are really good that have just been told, you're good there and that's it. When they really could be groomed and conditioned and work their way up through the ranks. Like I've got a handful of friends like Josh Green, Nolan Baumgartner, who after their retirement decided to go through the coaching route and they're doing quite well. Scott Arniel's a great example, former Winnipeg Jet and Manitoba Moose, finally head coach after being an assistant coach in a lot of different teams in the NHL and being a head coach in the American League. I feel that trying to keep these guys in the game is good, but I think a lot of coaches are being overlooked.
But isn't that not a story in life? It's who you know, when you know, right? If you don't know anybody, then good luck getting a job to get in the NHL. We're talking about 64 jobs, right?
Right.
And also the guy that's employing the coach, so if, let's say it's the general manager that's going to pick the coach, or everybody's been fired, it's the owner, it's the president, whoever's going to pick the coach. I'm putting my livelihood on the table.
Sure.
So if I pick some coach from AAA, maybe he could work out. I don't know. But if I'm going to be betting my livelihood and my family's food on the table, I'm probably not going to pick the coach that has no playing experience. I know Mike Babcock can win.
Yeah. But the odd time, and I haven't watched it yet, but Zachary Levi played the role of Kurt Warner in the story of Kurt Warner coming out of the Arena Football League and winning a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. So cool. And I know that those are very unique situations, but I think if we open the door for more unique situations, you might see some really capable people.
You know, let's face it, hockey's an old boys club.
Sure it is.
Every aspect.
The Leafs and Oilers have been proving that for the last 50 years.
Because they just keep icing the same team every single year?
No, because they keep graduating the same guys, like the
Kevin Lowe's, like McTavish's.
Right, and the Maple Leafs did that for decades through the 90s and 2000s. They just had the old boys club in there. Now the Oilers are kind of repeating that same sin. And have we not learned that lesson yet? Just because Kevin Lowe was a great defenseman wearing number 4 for the Edmonton Oilers through the 80s and 90s doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be great as a GM in Edmonton. You know, like maybe he needs to go down and be a GM in the American League or the East Coast League. Like, you know, prove yourself first. Just the fact that you got the name and people are like, oh, people will recognize him. They'll know that he's a good GM. Show me.
Perfect example. You know who I think should be president of the United States? Michelle Obama. Why? Because she was getting pinned down by Barack. That's it.
What about Wayne Gretzky as Prime Minister for Canada?
Ooh.
Didn't Donald Trump suggest that?
DJT said, yeah, Wayner, you should run for Prime Minister of Canada. You wouldn't even need to campaign very much. He says,
So
Donald,
silly.
no thank you. Janet says, yeah. Janet says, I want to see Wayne run. Wayne needs to run. Now, well, what party does he run under? Is he independent? People's Party of Canada? I hope he doesn't run for the Green Party or the NDP.
Well, you know he's going to dig for oil.
So he'd have to be conservative.
Yeah.
But
He's not going to be Green Party.
But that's already taken by Pierre.
Right.
So who? He could go
PPC.
Yeah, People's Party of Canada.
Yeah.
That'd be the only seat they get is Wayne Gretzky. The great one, the great seat.
Sorry, Max, you're out. We're bringing in Wayner. We're bringing in the 9-9.
The great
Look,
one.
I think it's silly. I really think it's silly to suggest it.
Getting Wayne into politics?
Yes.
Why is that? I wonder if he would instill a sense of nationalism that Don Cherry did.
No.
No?
No. It's the same argument I have about Cristiano Ronaldo and Tom Brady being on YouTube. Let me remember you for why you were great and what you were great at. Just because you were great at that does not mean you'll be great at this.
So you're telling me you wouldn't vote for Wayne?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you surprised by that?
A little bit, yeah.
Why? Would you?
Well, I guess because your dad, put out the boycott for Beatrice Milk and
No. But think about it, though. Right now, based on what you know about Wayne Gretzky's politics, you would vote for him just because he was a great hockey player?
well, he doesn't have a campaign or a platform. I don't know what he's going to campaign on.
But you were surprised that I wouldn't vote for him?
Well, it can't be worse than the dirtbags in power right now.
Well, but that's exactly what got us into this trouble. You know what I mean? We hired a guy based on, his dad was really good.
He's got good hair. He's got
great hair. He was a school teacher and a snowboard as instructor and a
drama teacher.
Whatever. He'll be great. No, he's not. And he hasn't been for the last 9 years. So just because Wayne Gretzky was a great hockey player and he is look, I'm not saying I wouldn't put him on the $5 bill if I had the option, but I don't want him running the country.
You got to put him on the 20 at least.
If we had the 2, I'd put him on the 2.
We don't have a 2.
We used to have a 2. Put him on the toonie.
Well, you put him on the $5 bill. It's the most used bill. Put him on the 20. Put him on the $100 bill. It's the most valuable bill. The great one, 99 for the $100 bill. That makes sense. Let us know in the comments section or call the voicemail line. You can call anytime. There's a link in the description. Call about whatever you want, wherever you are. You just link in the description, dial it in on your laptop or on your phone. Leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you.
What else you got?
Okay, I know we're on the topic of politics. What do you think of Justin Trudeau as the coach of the Leafs? Spending and the cap are going to be a big issue for this guy.
Well, look, spending. Look, the salary cap will just balance itself. You know,
no music in the locker room before practices, but you can smoke a big fatty right before morning skate at 10, fella.
Look, we're going to change that maple leaf to a cannabis leaf, and that's how we're going to roll out with our jerseys for the season. Look. As ludicrous as it is to say Justin Trudeau would be a great coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs, is as ludicrous as saying Wayne Gretzky would be a great prime minister.
Who would have a harder time balancing the finances, Evander Kane at Shark Club or JT with the salary cap?
I would give that
game time?
Even odds.
Game time decision?
Even odds. Well, you know what? I would give Evander Kane the edge on that one because at least he has more experience.
He's trying to right the ship. I don't think the other guy is.
Right. At least Evander Kane understands what kind of debt he's in.
I think you'd find more stability marrying Anna Kane again than having the current guy as prime minister.
Okay. What else you got?
That's basically. We're on Rumble, by the way, for everybody wanting to know. We are on Rumble in case YouTube ever does go down. We have Twitter now, and Dave runs the Twitter. So if you're on the Twitter, that's not me, that's Dave.
Runs.
Well, we just started a new Twitter account at Slangin The Bizkit Pod or Slangin The Bizkit Podcast. I believe one of the two. And then, that's basically all we got for today. We also got a little unrelated, a little Canadian news. 3 Days Grace is back together. They got Adam Gonche. Probably the second most popular rock band of the 2000s.
Yeah, man, they were great back in the early 2000s. I know they had a bit of inter-band drama, which is not rare. And I'm glad to see them back. And it sounds like they're rocking both lead singers.
Dual lead singers.
That's great. They're going the way of Linkin Park.
Yeah, good Canadian boy too. Well, they're from outside Toronto.
They're all Canadian, yeah.
Just beside Toronto. I think Cornwall, something like that. But
no, not that. No. Cornwall's about a 5-hour drive from Toronto.
Yeah, roughly, give or take.
Yeah,
that's where they're from.
Okay,
I think somewhere in that neck of the woods. But would you say probably second greatest Canadian rock band of the 2000s?
No.
Who?
Oh, there's lots. There's Our Lady Peace.
Nope.
You can still put the Tragically Hip in there. Rush is still comparable in there. Yeah.
Going Nickelback and then 3 Days Grace.
Billy Talent.
That's a good band too.
Yeah,
still going.
Lots. Watchmen.
Yeah. My life is a stereo.
Yeah, Winnipeggers.
Want to get to the call-ins now?
Sure.
Let's do some voicemails. By the way, if you missed it, call in. There's a link in the video description. Call in anytime, any place, whatever you want. Honestly, I'd love people to call in with their relationship issues. I wouldn't mind trying to diagnose that with you and seeing where we get with that.
Hey, Trav and Dave. My name is Ito Wolny. I am an estate planning attorney who's got high net worth clients around the country, including professional athletes. I've heard you guys speaking about Sidney Crosby and professional athletes getting married.
Is this the guy we referenced earlier on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect.
While they're still playing. And I thought there was an interesting statistic you guys should be aware of. In the U.S., at least, the average marriage has a success rate of about 55%, meaning the divorce rate's about 47% for first marriages in the U.S. For professional athletes, their rate of divorce is about 50% higher than that, meaning a professional athlete's divorce rate is approaching about 70%. Of those divorces, 50% of them will happen within 1 year of retirement. And so professional athletes need to be aware that there's a fundamental lifestyle change that happens at retirement that causes a pretty significant divorce rate right after they retire from playing, and they're just subject to a relatively high divorce rate to begin with. Thanks very much.
Amen.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, my industry is also famous for having a very high divorce rate. Dentists always have the doctors have a very high divorce rate. It sucks, man. It sucks. And like you said, hopefully you can be an exception to the rule.
Imagine if I told you, let's go into business together, but we got a 55% failure rate. We probably wouldn't go into business together, would we? Think about that for a second. I know they say love is, keep the love in. It's not business. But if we're doing business together and you took the love out, would you go in at a 55% success rate? Probably not.
I don't know, man. Love's always worth taking a gamble on.
Exception to the rule right here, people. This is the exception to the rule.
I love my wife.
I know you do.
I was in Washington, D.C. for President Trump's inauguration.
Is this Vander Kane?
This
I know he was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He's limping around.
Over
like
the
that.
course of 5 days, I heard about one world leader more than any other, and that's Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
Yeah,
She's
Danielle
doing a
Smith.
great
She's
job.
the premier of Alberta for our U.S. listeners. Our premiers are essentially like governors.
Yeah.
So each province, in comparison to states, each province dictates their rules under the federal umbrella, and then we have territories which do not have premiers. They fall under the federal umbrella. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
Yes, I said world leader. And we've all heard that saying that politics is perception, and so it shouldn't come as a surprise that as the only representative of Canada these days, she is not just well-liked, but well-respected
She is, yeah.
amongst Trump supporters. So while Justin is the laughingstock of the world and soon to be the former governor of Canada, Premier Smith is someone that people are eager to trade with, which is a win-win for everyone.
I might be meeting her later this summer,
While
by
other
the way.
so-called leaders
Say what?
I might be meeting her later this summer.
Danielle Smith?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I can't tell
Why?
you. I can't tell you why.
Oh.
I signed
You in trouble?
No, I signed an NDA about this opportunity, but just carry on with the call.
There's no doubt that Pierre's going to be a great and successful PM. He and Trump are going to be great partners, good friends, which is a win-win for everyone. But Canadian voters need to know that as they walk down the path of success, that every brick in that path was laid by one person only, and that is Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. Canadian voters, if they're going to make Canada great again, need to let their premiers, MPs, and the current government in Ottawa that's playing chicken know that they need to follow Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
Well, look, I won't even get into the fact that Justin Trudeau, as much as people cheered about the fact that he was stepping down, really threw a huge stick into the spokes of the Canadian wheel because the government's been prorogued. We were supposed to be back next week in Parliament and now not going back till the end of March. Meanwhile, all these major things should be debated on the House floor right now. As I said, I'm not going to get into it. Next call.
Thank you for the call-in.
Yeah, I know you said the Rideau Canal was too narrow for an outdoor rink, but I mean, the Dow's Lake part of that, it's already open. It's got people skating on it. I mean, that could work. Could just be a thought.
I like the way you think.
Look, there's no shortage of places to play an outdoor game for the Outdoor Winter Classic. If you missed it, we were talking about it, saying that they have to take out the allure,
People are tired of baseball stadiums and football arenas.
Right. You got to take away the pomp and circumstance of just, I was there and had a really bad view and it was cold out. Do it specifically for television. Have a very small captive audience. Have it in a really cool spot and make it epic. Like now it's just like, another stadium. Another ball diamond.
Well, they did Lake Tahoe. That was a fantastic setup they had. That was literally
cool.
for TV. They had no fans.
Right. Do it for TV. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get more eyeballs on it that way.
Where else could you go in Canada?
I love the idea of doing it on a rooftop somewhere downtown.
Oh, you got to find a big enough rooftop then.
Absolutely, you could.
Well, can you find a 200 by 50-foot rooftop?
Probably. It's doable.
Just don't do it in downtown Toronto, the dump of the universe.
Look, even if it's there, great. There's lots of places you could do it.
I'd love to see, maybe even on the St. Lawrence. Outside
Look,
Montreal.
when they do the Kraft Hockeyvilles and then they play an exhibition game, do it in a small town rink. That'd be fun.
They do that.
Yeah, I know, but do that for the Winter Classic.
A small town outdoor rink?
Small town outdoor rink.
Like middle of Saskatchewan.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea, Dave.
I think I could be a lot of fun.
Well, anyway, thank you everybody for listening. This is a little bit of a shorter episode this week. We emptied the voicemails on the last episode, so call us in the voicemail, leave us some voicemail calls, and we'll see you next Sunday. We do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies of Winnipeg, 9 in Calgary, 8 in the Pacific Northwest. I'm Travis Ridgen. That's Dave Wheeler. We'll see you soon.